So Marvel Studios has officially cleared everything up for us when it comes to an official Marvel Studios MCU complete timeline. And if you have not heard, this is really awesome news. Marvel Studios has officially declared the Netflix Marvel series like Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Defenders, The Punisher, Jessica Jones, all of them officially canon to the MCU. So now listed on the MCU complete timeline are all of the Netflix series. And an amazing part of Marvel Studios' new plan is that they are not done with the series that aired on Netflix. There are actually plans, it sounds like, to continue the series now in the MCU, which I know is a lot of information to take in, but we'll simplify it for you in this video. But if you were a fan, or are still currently a fan, of course, I still rewatch them as well, of the Netflix Marvel series that they released, this is incredible news. And it's great to see that Marvel Studios really is making some really big changes in order to really kind of get things sorted out in a way that's very clean for the MCU. That's not very confusing because the new list they laid out for us is very, very easy to understand. And at the same time, they really are trying to make everything better. And recently we heard from Bob Iger in the Disney's earning call that they are scaling back with Marvel. So basically moving forward, we're probably getting 3 movies a year with 2 Disney Plus shows. That way they can really take the time to focus on each individual project, not having to spread themselves too thin instead of working on 4 movies and 5, 6 Disney Plus projects at the same time, where they really don't have enough executives, and Kevin Feige himself doesn't really have enough time to go around and supervise everything. So now scaling back to 3 movies and 2 Disney Plus shows a year is a really great strategy for Marvel, which still gives us more projects than we've ever gotten before in the past with phase 1 through 4. So let's dive into the new and complete MCU timeline that Marvel Studios has shared. And if you love Marvel, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the latest MCU news. And we're also giving away a PS5 and an Xbox Series X to subscribers. More about the giveaway at the end of the video. So the new MCU complete timeline is posted on Disney Plus, so it's as official as it gets, coming directly from the source, Marvel and Disney. And it throws in literally everything. We're talking about the shorts that Marvel Studios has done, the one-shots, the Netflix series. It's all listed on there. So let's talk about this timeline. Of course, it starts with Captain America, the first Avenger. But then right after that, we don't have Captain Marvel. We have Agent Carter, the one-shot. So this is different than the section that they have that is the MCU movie timeline. There is a lot that happened in the background on other shows that we did not see, or other one-shots that we didn't see that happen in the MCU still that some people might not know about. So if you haven't seen some of these, go back and watch them because most of them are pretty awesome. After the one-shot Agent Carter, we then have Captain Marvel, Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, and then the one-shot, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to Thor's Hammer. Then we have Thor. Then we have the one-shot, The Consultant. And then the first Avengers film. Still an incredible film to this day. Then after that, we have the one-shot, Item 47, which if you haven't watched, you should. Then we have Thor: The Dark World, Iron Man 3, and the one-shot All Hail the King. Another one that if you haven't watched, you really should. In fact, really you should have watched all of the one-shots just to be able to have said you've watched them all and know what happened in all of them. But after that, we have Captain America, the Winter Soldier, the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Those come right after each other if you didn't know. The Disney Plus miniseries I Am Groot, and here is where we get into the Netflix shows. Right after I Am Groot is Daredevil, and right after Daredevil is Jessica Jones, and this is the first seasons, by the way. This is not every season of both of these shows crammed right here after the Guardians of the Galaxy series. They are just season 1 for each show, and they do dive into the other seasons where they are in the MCU timeline in just a bit. But after Jessica Jones is Avengers: Age of Ultron. Then we have Ant-Man, the very first one, and then we have Daredevil season 2. Then after that we have Luke Cage season 1, Iron Fist season 1, and then The Defenders. Again, more Netflix series and where they fall in the MCU complete timeline. After The Defenders, we have Captain America: Civil War, still to this day one of the best MCU movies. Then we have the Black Widow movie. Then we have the Black Panther movie. Then we have Spider-Man: Homecoming, and then The Punisher. right between Spider-Man Homecoming and Doctor Strange. So after The Punisher Season 1 is the first Doctor Strange film, and then after Doctor Strange is Jessica Jones Season 2, Luke Cage Season 2, Iron Fist Season 2, and then Daredevil Season 3. It really will be interesting to go back and watch everything in order. If you want to take like a month to do all this, or however long, depending on how fast you do it, it's going to be really cool. But after Daredevil Season 3 is Thor Ragnarok. Then we have The Punisher Season 2 and Jessica Jones Season 3. Then we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Avengers Infinity War, and then Avengers Endgame. Now, it's important to note that all of these Netflix shows, all the Marvel Netflix shows, they end before Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. After that, there are no more Netflix shows. I'll go over the rest of the MCU complete timeline real quick, but we have to talk about what this means for the rest of these shows, and we'll do that right after. So after Avengers Endgame going into Phase 4, we have Loki Season 1, What If Season 1, WandaVision, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Spider-Man Far From Home. Yes, Spider-Man Far From Home takes place after Loki, What If Season 1, WandaVision, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Then we have The Eternals, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Wakanda Forever, the Echo series, the She-Hulk series, the Miss Marvel series, Thor, Love and Thunder. Then we have the special presentation, Werewolf by Night, the special presentation, the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Then we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Secret Invasion, The Marvels, and after The Marvels is Loki Season 2 and What If Season 2. So there's your official timeline. One thing to note is Spider-Man No Way Home is not yet on Disney Plus, therefore is not yet placed in the MCU complete timeline. However, since it is mentioned what happened with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, we assume that it's right before Multiverse of Madness. Unless, according to some multiversal thing that happened, it somehow ends up somewhere else, but based on what we know right now, it's before Multiverse of Madness. Now, as far as the continuation goes for the Marvel Netflix shows in the MCU, according to insiders, Marvel Studios does have plans to continue them. In fact, they've already done that with Daredevil. It is 100% clear now that these shows are MCU canon, so they are going to reference some things that happened in the shows in the new MCU shows. For example, Daredevil Born Again will probably reference events that happened in the Netflix series. In fact, Echo already showed us this with Kingpin. They showed us flashbacks to the Netflix series. So they're canon completely. It is 100% official. And according to insider Alex Perez at thecosmiccircus.com, Marvel is going to continue to tell old stories that were once finished, but now under the Marvel Studios umbrella. He said X-Men 97 is a continuation of the animated series, but now under Marvel Studios, and they are going to continue to do that not just with the animated series, but other series as well. So we are assuming he is talking about the Netflix series, since obviously they've already begun to do that with Daredevil Born Again. So for those of you who are really big fans of those Marvel Netflix series, those characters are popping up again. It's already confirmed the Punisher is going to appear in Daredevil Born Again. We've heard that Jessica Jones is going to come back at some point in time, and I'm sure Marvel Studios has plans for some of these other characters as well from the Netflix world, since they are now canon to the MCU. In fact, we could even get continuations of seasons for characters like the Punisher and Jessica Jones, because they are doing that for Daredevil right now, so it's definitely on the table for these other shows as well, especially if we listen to the current report from Alex Perez. I, for one, think this is great news. I think a lot of people really came to love the Defenders characters on Netflix, most of them at least, and a lot of people really wanted to see them in the MCU, and I, for one, would love to see if any of them got snapped, what they were doing during Infinity War, Endgame. I'm curious to see what Marvel says their stories are, and if they kind of change their stories a little bit, maybe to fit the continuity a little bit better, but they are kind of the street level heroes, and we know that Marvel Studios is going to dive into the street level of the MCU very, very soon. In fact, they really already have, with Echo and Daredevil Born Again coming up, and hopefully Spider-Man. There's some word that Sony really wants the next Spider-Man movie to be huge, but Marvel Studios kind of wants it to be a little bit smaller scale, a little bit more grounded. So if we hear anything more about that or any of these other Marvel Netflix shows, we'll be sure to do an update for you, so be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. And please let us know your thoughts about the new MCU timeline that Disney has recently released? What do you think about it? Also, to enter our giveaway, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and leave a comment down below. We pick one winner at the end of each month, and the winner gets to pick between a PS5, an Xbox Series X, some Marvel Legends items, or some DC items. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.